cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna leave. I'ma get right. Get right. Down to the bottom and scratch it for all the...
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up everybody? It's Marcus Grant.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I gotta give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Our league. Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
And best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
You're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
But I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down, cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right, cause I roll my sleeves.
What up? What up? What up, world? We are back. I'm Anthony, aka Rasta, and this is Get Right Fantasy Network. And I'm here on a lovely Monday night with my boy Fishing Frank. How you doing, Frank? We had football last Thursday. More coming up here this weekend. Just more and more. Tell me how excited you are. I don't even want to ask if you're excited or not. Just what level of excitement level are we at? Are we at like a 2? Is it a 9? Like, I'm like somewhere in the middle. Where are we at
right now?
Okay.
I'm gonna get to it like a 12 come Thursday because I'll be like, oh, look, more preseason's happening. But no, you know what? I wanted to point out the kicking. This kicking game is interesting.
Kickoff.
Yeah,
I didn't see anything with it. Yeah, I mean, it was just normal.
I can see the teams that have better returners can get some really an advantage there for sure. Not always saying they take it to the house, but they definitely could get better yardage, better field position. I think
30,
that's going to help
35.
Yeah, I think it's going to help the game.
That should help with fantasy.
And that's the other thing I wanted to bring up was because obviously the Scott Fishbowl has actually scoring for it, right? So that you purposely drafting a guy that's a kick returner or has opportunities to do so you can get that extra scoring, right? So I mean, it's a nice new little wrinkle to the game, and I think I've always wanted to incorporate like kick return type yardage, right? Because those guys score touchdowns too. So this is
defense special teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Should have it on there.
Good different way of doing it, man. I don't know. I want to see how it works. It is a 1-year experiment, as they say, but I'm excited to see it happen.
Right. I think
it's finally a change. It's something different.
Exactly. Well, and I think the big thing too is when it actually becomes like when we actually will we see Tyreek Hill back there? Like, will we see someone like that, Debo? Like, are we going to get someone like that actually returning kicks, or is it just going to be these kind of speedy guys and seeing if they could break one? I think the difference is just the talent of the player. If it is more like a regular play, then I think that's where the excitement, kind of really comes from. Because if you did kind of watch some of them, it is kind of really weird. There was the first one where the guy was clearly offsides. They didn't call it. The second one, he was clearly no one even moved, and they called like 5 flags flew in. So, who knows how it's going to be if it what if someone runs it back and then they're like, oh, I was offsides, or is it going to be reviewable if the guy took off? Are they going to challenge it if it's it's a scoring place? Are they going to go back and look if the guy actually went before the guy actually catches it? There's no true snap of the ball that signals the start of play. That's the thing to me. That's the weirdest thing. And I kind of heard it on the Pat McAfee show. Shout out to Pat McAfee. But they were saying I guess in the XFL, they actually have a whistle. So once the guy catches it, the ref blows a third whistle, right? So it's the whistle that starts the kick. Then they would blow the whistle again to start the return, and then they blow the whistle dead. So apparently the NFL didn't want to add a whistle? Another whistle in the middle of 2 whistles. So they just said, okay, when he catches it, then it's okay to go. So there's going to be talk about pass interference being a judgment call. This is going to be such a judgment call. Are they going to, are they going to wait until the ball's actually in the basket and he makes a football move? And then that's when the guys can, you know what I'm saying? It's going to get so convoluted. I just hope it doesn't turn into that.
What
especially if it's a return touchdown.
What if he
Yeah,
doesn't?
like
It goes right through his arms because he monkeys it or whatever, muffs it.
right, and you never actually touch it. Like what's what's
Yeah,
going on, right? So I don't know, man. I think that has to be kind of worked out a little bit, because that could get annoying. And again, especially if it's a huge bit, like again, if it's an actual return, because either someone jumped early and got overblocked, and the guy was able to cut underneath and take his lane and go.
yeah,
And if they review it, are they going to call back a touchdown because the guy was like offsides? Even if that helps the defense, right? Because if it's the defense leaving early, the return team, or not the returning team, but the kickoff team, if they're the one who jumps but gives up a return touchdown, are they going to call it offsides
right.
to
I don't think you
bring
call
it
the penalty
back and
against
actually
yourself.
punish the return team for that? Like, I don't know, man. It's so weird that we'll just have to get in there. Probably spent way too much time on that, but no better way to start off the intro
Yeah,
here to
that's
the
what I'm
show,
saying.
man.
Because we
Something
got to
new to
talk some
football is
football, right?
crazy.
Just something different, dude. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
you got me excited. See, we didn't even like plan that. That's why I'm so like juiced that you brought that up, because I've been wanting to talk about that actually a little bit. So
Oh, there you go.
well done, well
And it'll
done.
be
All
an
right, man.
interesting wrinkle if we actually get it into fantasy too, though. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, if that's a little scoring that we do that we add in there, it will be a little wrinkle to the drafting. Because I was in my draft, people started reaching for guys that I was like, he's ranked 600 at something eight, and we were like
Braxton Berrios
12.
is now a 13 round pick, and it's in a 22 round draft
Yeah,
because of
yeah.
return yards.
I
Yeah,
had I had an eye on that guy. I had on a guy on the Dallas guy. I was like,
yeah.
this guy is
Devontae
not going to get
Turpin.
nobody. Yeah, nobody's going to look at these dudes. Next, they're getting round 12. We're
Yeah, I
not
was
even
gonna say
we're
you
two
told me you went
receiver
like in the
points in.
12th in the
Yeah,
Scott
and it was
Fishbowl.
like in the 12th, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "I thought I had him." Nobody knew none of this stuff, and I was like, "Nah, they all know,
Welcome to Scott Fishbowl. Welcome to
right?
Scott
They all
Fishbowl.
know.
Yeah.
Everybody knew." It's like, at this point, nobody's reaching. This is what you got to do,
Exactly. Good stuff. And now Rashid Shaheed's hurt after all that.
right?
So
Exactly.
welcome to training camp, fellas. Welcome to training camp. A lot of news to get into, of course. We'll see if we can incorporate that as we break down the teams here tonight. We're going to actually be breaking down the semifinal round one mock that was done last Friday for our mock draft tournament of champions. But before we get into that, Frank, why don't you tell the folks that are tuning in new for us here the first time what we have going on here at Get Right Fantasy Network here in the off season, and then what we're going to get going during the season as well.
So yeah, as Anthony mentioned tonight, we're doing the review of the mock draft because we're currently in our mock draft tournament of champions. So you guys can come join us, So check out the sleeper and the contents here. But Monday nights is just a mock draft tournament. We got to review that. Wednesdays is we're going to do a best ball
An
draft.
announcement.
And
We will be
yeah.
announcing the top three that advance to the finale on August 30th.
Yes,
tonight.
you're right. Yeah, because there's a top three each week. After the 4 weeks, we have all 12 of them for the finale. So,
Yep.
keep an eye on that. On Wednesdays, we're going to be doing the best balls. So Anthony and I will be doing
Yes,
the best ball
sir.
drafts.
Best
until
Ball
the
Mania
start
looking
of the
like
season
again
here.
on Wednesday.
Yeah, and I just there was another one in there that we had, but I did it. It was only one entry, so
Yeah, I got that. I got mine
yeah.
into the corgi. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Promo code Get Right.
then we're doing Thursdays. I guess that's it right now, right? Wednesdays and Wednesdays.
Yeah, and then Friday's the actual mock itself.
Friday's the actual the Friday night mocks. That's our regular staple when these mock drafts are actually happening. So everybody can joins into that, watches the live mock draft, and then again we go grade our back on Monday nights. So good to review what's going on with that tournament. Just qualifying mock starting tonight, and then with the live stream finale on August 30th, $50 cash prize and the title of mock draft champion. Right. So we have mock draft treasures randomized for the draft spots. It's one mock per week, Monday through Thursday qualifying rounds. Friday is the semifinal basically for that, and then we take the top three for the semifinals to compete in the final. So right now we're just picking the first week of that semifinals, and getting a total of 4 there. So then we got the mock draft turned into a basically the last one is played out just as a league as a best ball style to kind of figure out who the really winner is, because obviously they it's not subjective to the drafting. You made it to the final. Let's see how it works out best ball style, right? And that's who wins the $50 for the championship. So be sure to hit the subscribe button, the like button here. Everything helps. To do that, come to the Sleeper channel, join us in Sleeper, get in the mock drafts. We already have them pinned there, so you can see the lobbies ready to be, join in and get drafted on the days that you can make
Still
it.
some spots left for this
Yeah,
week. Super
is there? There
flex.
we go.
Come hop
Yeah.
in.
So yeah, pop in. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. Hey, it's just mock it and you can win actual cash prize.
Let's do it, man. I'm excited. Fun thing to do. While we get into it, and again, that finale will be at best ball. It will be actually set up to the exact same scoring and settings as the underdog best ball drafts, as far as 1 quarterback, 3 wide receiver, 1 flex, half PPR, 4 point per passing touchdown. So yeah, we'll do a full 18 rounds, 30-second picks. Literally, it's going to be just like an underdog best ball, and so we'll see what happens, man. So good luck to everybody that's competing, and good luck to the folks that drafted last night. I mean, I guess it's already, or Friday night, I guess it's already done, and we're gonna get into that thing now, man. So so for tonight, what we do with these semifinal rounds, we're not going to break down the entire mock. We are just going to go over the top 6 teams. So the folks who place 4th through 6 are actually the alternates. And then the ones who place the top 3 are the finalists. Should one of those finalists not be able to make the August 30th draft, then we will call upon the alternates that we discuss here. So we're going to go through 6 teams here tonight. Will also allow us to kind of go a little more in depth on the build and these teams, maybe what we liked or didn't like, depending on where we personally had them ranked. I know this semifinal mock, man, was the first mock the whole week where every single person, all 12, made it somewhere on all of our scorecards. There wasn't one team that had a 0, whereas we had at least one, sometimes multiple of the other 4 mocks leading up to it that had 0s, just meaning you didn't place in the top 6 on any of the judges' scorecards. So this was a very tough. You could tell it was kind of the folks that knew what we were looking for. Maybe they've already been in it. We did have the reigning champ in there as well. So it was a tough room, man. It was a tough room. So yeah. So without any further ado, man, let's get into it. Let's bring this thing
in
up
order.
here.
Should we just read them off randomly?
Yeah, so we're just gonna start from the consensus rank 16, the 6th place team, based on our consensus ranking. So this person will be the 3rd alternate if someone doesn't show up on the August 30th, which also means they can jump in this week's mocks as well. Because if you don't make it in the semifinal, you got to start all the way back over. That's kind of the challenge of this thing. You don't just get to come right back to the semifinal again, so you have to win 2 in a row. So the 1st place team, I'll go ahead and just announce it since I'm still talking here, Frank. Yeah. Leo the Jets fan. So Leo the Jets fan, consensus rank 6th team here from Friday night. He finished with, and it was actually nobody scored over 20 points. So there was no just far and ahead, team. Actually our 2 1st and 2nd place teams were actually a tie at 19 points. So Leo the Jets fan came in here at 12 points. Frank looks like he so this should be interesting. He actually didn't even make top 6 for both of our teams. So why don't you go ahead and read off the team, and we can talk about why maybe it didn't make our top 6.
Yeah, why it didn't make the cut for us, right?
Yeah, we'll let you guys know. So go ahead. Out of the 3 spot.
Out of the 3 spot. Yeah, exactly. Out of the 3 spots, started with CeeDee Lamb, Travis Etienne, Cooper Kupp, Jalen Hurts, Dalton Kincaid, Deontay Johnson, Raheem Mostert, Javonte Williams, Josh Palmer, Nick Chubb, Jerry Jeudy, Darnell Mooney, and Dalton Schultz. Do you want me to pass it off to you, or do you want me to go this?
Okay, yeah, I'll go first. That was good. I like how you're thinking. So for me, we didn't rank fully all the way to 12, so I don't know exactly maybe where this team would have came in. I thought it was a nice start. It kind of is that, rainbow start that we kind of talk about here. Gets his elite onesie positions and Hurts and Kincaid. I don't mind that. I mean, I don't even mind CeeDee Lamb and Travis Etienne, Cooper Kupp as your first 3 picks there. Hurts, Kincaid. You lose me a little bit with Deontay Johnson. Not the biggest Johnson fan. I understand there's targets there. He's been a target hog in Pittsburgh. Just not sure about the quarterback. I know the line's improved a bit over there. It's a terrible kind of division, so to speak. But there are a couple good defenses there with Tampa Bay and New Orleans. They always play them tough. And of course, the new and improved Atlanta Falcons, which people think are going to make a big leap this year. So I guess you can, say that there's, upside there. I just, because they're going to be passing and maybe playing from behind. So that could lead to a lot of targets. Just how much is that target worth? Like, if it's coming from someone like Bryce, like, what's really happening there? So I'm just not feeling it, all the way. Per se, as the third wide receiver, then he goes, Mostert. I'm not a big Javonte Williams fan. Then he gets Nick Chubb as well. Just not really a fan of the running back room. Don't like the depth too much here. I mean, Palmer could be okay, but Judy, especially with the new news now with Ayuk potentially going to Cleveland, we'll see what happens there. And then just Mooney himself, who I haven't been a big fan of. Don't mind the Schultz pick, here late. Not too bad actually at all. Just kind of, that 6 through 12, just those picks kind of in there. Just it felt like it kind of got away. So that's why kind of there's just at least 6 other teams that I felt were a little better that I'd want to take over if I was jumping in this league. But what are your thoughts there, Frank?
Well, the one that jumped out at me is like you're saying, it's kind of the rainbow start. But right after he went with Kincaid, I felt like he could have just kept going on the wide receiver run and kept it like a hero RB draft. And like you're saying, I don't care so much for Raheem or Williams. In that case, I would have took Brian Robinson before that and just him
Exactly.
and pulled another wide receiver there instead of Mostert, and then waited till after maybe Palmer, then went for Chubb or somebody else that was in that area. And the team would have looked a lot better having some better wide receivers after that. I guess you could look at it as Dalton Kincaid is his third wide receiver or whatever, but yeah, that's you're right. That's that whole middle. Then he comes back and redeems himself with Dalton Schultz at the end there. I thought it was a really nice pick, having the double D's here with the Daltons at tight ends. So, but yeah, it just didn't. The other teams, you could see the flow of their drafting. This one was like kind of like Wonka right there. I was like Roaster Williams. There was no need for it, and even Johnson. I mean, like you're saying, I would have went with Rice there even.
Yeah. So I will say though, Kendall did have him as his third place team. Tycoon and Phil had him as his fourth place team, and Classic Mike had him as his fifth place team. So he did at least make the top 6 here with that score. Again, everybody was all kind of spread out there a little bit. But yeah, so Leo the Jets fan, come jump back in again this week, man. Appreciate him. He was here last year with us, I think even the year before. Definitely last year. I know he has fun in these mocks. Wish he could have made it in, man. Still not totally out of it. Make sure you come hang around on Friday night.
Again.
You can come back as an alternate, but you do have 3 more chances to make it to the semifinal. So potentially 3 more chances to make it to the finale. So make sure you keep coming out, man.
Like Anthony
you made it to the semifinal.
Yeah,
so you know what to do.
This far, so yeah, you know what you're doing. It's all good.
You know what to do. Sometimes you're just in a tough spot. Yeah, you're in a tough spot sometimes.
Exactly.
All right, man. I guess it was kind of our fault. It was kind of our fault why I didn't make it in because we didn't make our scorecards. So.
it was ours.
That's tough. Yeah. Time to pay the piper here today on this show. It's a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be, man. All right, well here we go. Who's at number 5, man? Who's at number 5?
We got Raf Danis.
Oh, on the 2 spot.
Yes. So he comes up here. Go ahead.
I'll read it off. Yeah. All right. So he goes Christian McCaffrey. Fell to him at the 102 because Rafi took Bijan at the 101. Then he goes double hero RB or just, I mean, not robust, but kind of double hero RB here with Derrick Henry in the second. A little behind it, wide receiver, but hits 4 in a row. Waddle, Cooper, Dell, and Rice. Then he grabs his quarterback and Joe Burrow here in the 7th. Then he goes Brian Robinson, who we're just talking about, and Devin Singletary. And then he goes Rashid Shaheed here in the 10th, A.D. Mitchell in the 11th, and then double taps tight end here in the 12th and 13th with T.J. Hawkinson. And then Dallas Goedert. So, Frank, where did you have this team ranked? Or did you not?
He didn't make my cut.
Ooh.
Unfortunately. He was on yours, but not for me.
We'll get there.
And I know why you were able to do it. I just couldn't do it. because he does take his basically tight ends at the end, and he starts his first one with T.J. Hawkinson, who's injured. We're not sure when he's going to play, and Dallas Goddard, who literally doesn't even get end zone looks. I think I heard somebody say that he literally got 6 end zone looks all of last year, and none of them were touchdowns. He's just not even on the field in near the end zone. So that's that's why I couldn't give him the ranking. I was like, he basically ignored the position till the last 2 picks. And I know that you're okay with that. I'm not okay with that. You have to have a little bit more balance. Take the David Njoku, or even take a shot at Brock Bowers or somebody. I just don't. I just think that you said I forgot to draft tight ends. I better grab 2 of them at the end. I like the rest of the team. He started off incredible, right, with McCaffrey. I could have just left with McCaffrey, especially getting him at the 1-2, and just took wide receivers after that. But he did get a pretty decent wide receiver core. Waddle, Cooper, Dell. Takes a shot at Rice. He could be a number 1 as well. Burrow is a
May not
nice
even
shot
get
at 7.
suspended this year. The court date is not until like November.
Yeah,
So
so his stock is rising like crazy now because of
yeah,
that, right?
get him while you
Um,
can.
yeah, get him while you can. If you still can get him in the 6, you're getting him still, because he's going to jump up to about, I'd say, the 2nd round here pretty soon, right?
We were kind of just talking about that, I think, last episode, where we would take him if he didn't have this potential
Pending
suspension
problem
looming.
situation, right? Yeah. But like I said, the team's solid, man. It's got good players. I just didn't score it because you just basically ignored the position. And at some point, getting those zeros is going to cost you the weeks, and that's why you can't do it. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
everything else is good, but because you didn't have those 5 points that you needed from your tight end, you don't have to go for the top one that's getting 10, you 12, but at least the 3 to 4, 5 points, 6 points that you get a week, right? You got to have that.
I think
That's just the way
Goddard
I
could do
feel.
that this year.
Uh,
You know, you never know. Um,
uh,
and then he does
no,
have Hawkinson, who could come off, IR. He maybe
yeah,
sticks him there. Maybe he grabs another guy, maybe a Conklin or an Otten or someone to kind of fill that spot in a managed league. I could see maybe what he's picking up there. But for me, like you said, I'm all about the take a penny, leave a penny at tight end. Just playing that streamer tight end. I don't mind it at all if you build out the rest of your team.
yeah,
Usually not a fan of taking those 2 running backs with the first 2 picks. But when you can get a wide receiver core like he did with this, Waddle, Cooper, Dell, Rice, you may not have that true alpha wide receiver 1, which is what you're giving up, but you do have McCaffrey and Henry, and mainly McCaffrey. So you do have that star, stud player,
it'll make up
that
some
set and
gaps.
forget
Yeah,
guy. But I think these guys, either are the number ones on their team, or they're part of high-powered offenses, or attached to really good quarterbacks. You could say that at least one of those things fits for all 4 of these guys.
yeah,
Some of them have 2 of those attributes. So to me, like you said, given he did skip wide receiver, he's in a good spot and had a couple guys just land to him perfectly. The pick, I think, was just a little off, and this was my 4th place team, because, like you said, he still got Robinson, got Singletary. I'm a big 80 Mitchell guy, and I don't mind the tight ends here late. Still got one of those top type quarterbacks, but I probably personally would have went Stroud, maybe over Burrow, just because he does have Tank Dell to get that little extra stack there, who went 2 picks later. Or I might have just waited, completely kept building up, wide receiver, running back there, or maybe even took George Kittle there. Might have been a nice spot, because then he could still easily came back and got someone like, Prescott, Daniels, Love here a round or 2 later. Probably would have scored a little higher had he waited a little bit on quarterback there, especially if you're not taking a guy with, rushing upside. Just kind of one of these pure pocket type passers like Joe Burrow. Of course, with a little bit of injury risk as well. I don't mind it too much. But yeah, so it was, again, not my favorite type of build. Again, usually I'm hero RB, but this team did come in as a 4th place team for me on my scorecard. So,
I think.
so 5th place overall. Raf, congratulations. Hopefully we'll see you out. And again, if somebody doesn't show up, there's still a chance you can get into that finale. So, but hopefully you can just earn your spot before it comes to that. So, again, congrats, and hopefully we see you here this week. All right. So,
What are we coming up with next?
let's do it. Who's
last year's
number?
champ? It's last year's champ, Rafi Bomb.
Rafi, one spot away, my guy, from
one
getting
spot.
back
He's
to the
the-
finale on the first try.
Right?
What's crazy here
He's the
too?
bubble boy.
The Bubble Boy. Actually, he and Raf were actually tied. However, Rafi did get the tiebreaker because he did score on more people's scorecards, even though it was the same score. So Rafi comes in here as the fourth place team with a score of 13. So go ahead and read it off, Frank. Where you got Rafi?
So we got
here.
Rafi, the one spot. Even though he skipped on Christian McCaffrey and CeeDee Lamb, which is the ones that have been going off, he went to Bijan Robinson. So it was interesting. Good start. Then he basically did a hero RB build because he goes Brandon Ayuk, DJ Moore, Christian Kirk, Chris Godwin. Then he takes up his running quarterback in Kyler Murray. Rabonde Stevenson is co running back here, so he waits till the 7th to get it. Nice build, man. Curtis Samuel, and then he takes a shot at Brock Bowers there in the 9th, and then he comes back and gets the running backs that he needs to fill in the score: Blake Corum, Jalen Wright, Kamani Vidal. So he gets some nice young blood right there in Corum and Vidal, and Wright as well. I think it's the second year over there in Miami. That's his first year. First year, right? First year.
Yeah,
So all three rookies right here. And then you got finishes off for Pratt Fremuth, who's got
Favorite
a really
pick.
nice
pick right there.
Yeah, it's really nice
Pat
shot
Fremuth.
at the end too. I think that was a lot better than the guy getting Dallas Goddard. He should have took Dalton Schultz instead of Goddard also. Anyways, I like the build. I scored Buffy. Unfortunately, he didn't get enough from everybody to get him in there. What are your thoughts on him before?
Yeah, so it looks
Don't
like
wanna
you
get
and
too
I. Yeah, I was gonna say you and I scored him actually exactly the same. He
Yeah.
was our fifth place team, in this draft here. I just felt there was a couple more folks that had a little bit better builds than the one he did here. There are a couple guys or things that I don't personally like about it. Not a big Ramondre Stevenson fan. Like I personally would have actually probably went David Montgomery there. I would have skipped Mostert and Brooks, who went after him in that round. Not the biggest Curtis Samuel fan either, but I get it. Whether you're Coleman, Samuel, Shakir, one of those guys should pop. Being attached to Josh Allen. Not the biggest Brock Bowers fan, so to me it's a waste of a pick. Like you could have just waited until the 13th and got Pat Freiermuth just on his own. I would have been fine week 1 starting him, and then you could use that pick on someone else there, maybe like a Tajay Spears or even who else? Maybe like a Gus Bus, maybe a Chase Brown who is starting to climb up draft boards, or Jerome Ford. Could have took a running back maybe that would have been a little bit better value, especially if you would have just waited on Stevenson, went with another wide receiver there like Christian Watson over Stevenson, then just came back and got like again a Jerome Ford or someone like that here, and then maybe took a shot on these rookies. But otherwise, I don't think it's too bad. Again, it still made my top 6. There were a couple more that I like just a little bit better. But yeah, I don't mind calling your shot here at the 101 with Robinson over McCaffrey. We've talked about how very rarely, if ever, running backs repeat as RB1s year over year. So, statistics say it's not going to be McCaffrey. So Rafi's taking a shot with Bijan, saying it's going to
And
be
he was
him.
on the Madden cover.
And Madden cover curse. Yeah, let's not talk about all that. All right, so moving on. Congrats, Rafi, man. You know the deal here. Obviously, being the reigning champ, come jump back in, man. Obviously, ambassador extraordinaire, part of the ambassador team here at Get Right Fantasy, and yeah, he knows what to do. He's tapped in, so I'm sure this isn't the last time we'll see him in a semifinal this off season. So. Let's get it going, man. Let's get to the part where we've all been waiting for.
I want to see, before I said that, I would say what's up.
I said what's up to Albert way earlier.
I didn't see it.
But that's all good. Yeah, you were going off on your thing about the kickoff thing, I think, at that time, and then it set me off, and we rambled on about that for a little bit.
All right, no worries.
That was fun.
So,
all right, man. So go ahead. Let's
the
announce
top
number
3,
3,
guys.
man.
Number 3 here, coming in at number 3, Notar. There we go.
Notar in the 11th spot of all places, man.
Right? Late.
So there we go. Congratulations, Notar, our third place team that is the first person advancing on a technicality here. to the first announced person that'll be joining us for our August 30th finale here on a Friday. It will be live streamed for the best ball for his chance to win $50 cash. So let's go over his team here.
Welcome to the draft,
What being one of the top three, and let's see how he made it in.
Yeah,
Interesting build. I can't believe this build made it in, but let's get into it. And let's talk about it.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay, cool. Even better. All right, man. So from the 11th spot, our boy goes Wilson, then Barkley. So he gets his wide receiver and running back. Then he goes Kelsey after Laporta here in the third. Not a bad spot. Comes back around, gets George Pickens here. And again, this was all before the IU trade, by the way, or a potential trade over to Pittsburgh. So George Pickens here in the fourth, followed up by his RB2 and Joe Mixon in the fifth. Then he grabs Calvin Ridley, and this was post DeAndre Hopkins injury. So you kind of see Ridley jump up here a little bit in the sixth. Then he goes Amir White in the seventh, followed by JSN in the eighth, followed by Eckler and Ford in the ninth and 10th. Then he gets Dontavian Wicks, followed by Brock Purdy. And then his Mr. Irrelevant here in the 13th is Jermaine Burton. So, Frank, where did you have this team ranked, or did you have it even ranked at all, our third place team, Mr. Nosbar?
I just wanted to fix that thing that you said to Brandon you, because he's not going to the Steelers. He's looking at the Browns and the Patriots.
No, I'm just saying this, it's been all swirled around today. I'm just
yeah. He's definitely getting moved. That's what we're doing.
He wants to go to pick. I never say definitely anything. He's still technically under contract with the Niners for 3 years.
But
we still have his fifth-year option, and we can franchise tag his ass twice. No, I know. I'm just saying. So
yeah. No, but I think that the writing's been on the wall. It's going to happen at some point here.
We'll see.
I truly believe that. And no, I did not have Notar graded at all. He didn't actually make neither one of our sheets.
Why you keep stealing my thunder?
What are you talking about? You said it last time. No, I looked at this one.
Oh, my bad.
He actually only got on the 3 sheets here, but he had high praise on those, so he was able to make it into the third spot here. So yeah, I just didn't care for the team. The build was just wonky. It was kind of like best available. I think it seemed like that's what he did. Garrett Wilson, Barkley, Kelsey. Then it's just going back and forth with wide receiver, running back, running back. So at some point you get somewhat of, I guess, semblance of a decent team because you get some okay guys throughout there. But I just don't think that it has a concentration of anything per se. I thought that his best pick was Brock Purdy in the 12th. I was surprised that he's fallen that far. And I even like Jermaine Burton as his last pick. But I just, as far as the build, I don't think it's like viable. I don't think it would hold up against the other teams for me. But I guess some of the guys like the names, Pickens and Mixon and, Zamir White. I'm not sure if you're getting value with some of these guys. But it looks like best available to me. Like literally was just picking off the top of the sheet.
Yeah. I don't think it's that bad of a build. Again, I just like, a couple other builds, better. Didn't make my top 6. Some of these guys individually I like, Barkley, Wilson, Travis Kelsey, JSN later, Jerome Ford, big fan. Like the Jermaine Burton pick late, even though he hasn't been having that great a camp apparently, which might mean more targets for Chase Brown. Keep an eye and ear out on that. So it's just tough. With this one here, I'm just not the biggest Pickens and Ridley fan. I don't mind Pickens in a best ball league. But when you have to start, someone every week, I don't want to have to rely on him as my wide receiver 2. I don't think Joe Mixon's for his cost at RB2. I understand the offense he's part of. Again, getting a little older. Again, I understand the opportunity. I just don't like the costs. Like, you could argue, yeah, Mixon doesn't have a Jahmyr Gibbs, but I would just rather have Montgomery 2 rounds later, over Mixon.
You seem to like Montgomery looking at that spot that he's at. That's
I'm just saying, like, that's just a good spot. He's just like someone good and easy to reference. There, in that area. Again, there's still a lot of wide receivers on the board. Jaden Reed's still there. I could take your chance maybe with Xavier Worthy at that point. You know, Rishi Rice is a little bit later in that round. I mean, there's definitely a tier break there. You see 4 running backs go
Yeah.
off the board right away after that Ridley pick and that Mixon Ridley pick. So there's a definite type of tier break right there. But even still, like I wouldn't even mind Anthony Richardson right there. At least you're going to get some potential QB1 upside
Yeah.
there. So yeah, just
Which is just a
again,
funky,
don't mind
wonky
the
way to
players
go.
individually. Couple ones I don't disagree with, but putting them all together, I just didn't quite make my my top 6. But it didn't matter to me because the boys had you in there. So
Yeah. You're in there.
Notar, we had Classic Mike. He was you were 4th place on his team. You got 2nd place on Kindle's team, and you got 1st place on Phil's team, which got you that 3rd place finish, man. So congratulations. We'll see you August 30th, my guy.
Nice.
Look at Tresner.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I just did that same time. Tresner's in the house. What up, man? How you doing?
Tresner, you got to get in these mocks, man.
Yeah, that's
Get in the
what's
mock
up.
draft tournament, my guy. We got
Yeah.
spots open. Links in the description. Come join the lobby or the sleeper channel. Get in the lobby. The links are there, or just hit me up on a DM. He might be one of those people where we know him on YouTube as Tresner, and maybe know him as something else on Sleeper.
Oh,
Tresner,
yeah.
what's your Sleeper handle? Are you
Yeah.
even on Sleeper? Have I been talking to you this entire time, not knowing who
Not
like
even
this
knowing.
is you? There's a couple guys like that where I kind of know both sides of them, like Prado Dynastia. And there's a couple guys where I know both their YouTube and their Sleeper name, and they're different. That's why I like just being the same on both places. Just there's no confusion with my identity
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah, everybody knows where I am. I have the same.
When
I
you
have
see
the same name.
Rastafarian, yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's got the same thing everywhere. It's like, don't worry. I'm good.
There we go. All right. Anything else you want to see about Notar's team here?
No, he's welcome. Yeah, he made the cut.
Yeah,
Just
congratulations.
not for us, but the other guys really like that, and that's important.
Yeah.
I still think
You
that,
don't need to score on
again,
everybody's team. If you score high enough on just a couple people's team,
that'll
you
get
have
you
a
in.
chance to sneak in
Yeah.
that 3rd spot. So
So obviously, some people seen it, and I just still think his best pick is way late, like Brock Purdy, 12th. I can't believe you dropped that far to him, and that's what you get for waiting on a QB. I think that's probably the best asset of this team. Just draft position where he ended up getting. I think he's getting the most value out of that player.
there you go.
And he said I pounded tightened. So I don't
I
think I've seen
pound
it.
tight end. No, I don't think I've seen you on Sleeper with that, man. You got to come join us out here for a mock. You're always in our streams.
Yeah.
I even seen him over on the Flock Fantasy. Shout out to Mason
Nice.
Dodd over there. I see Tresner all up in the chats over there. I'm with you as I voyeur over there. Listen to Mason trying to get my best ball stuff going. But yeah, man. Hopefully you can join us here in one of these mocks, man. Love to get you in. But yeah, so let's get this thing. Let's keep this thing moving, man. Let's go on to 2nd place here.
2nd place is JWN71.
Yeah,
what's
JWN
up?
71. Congratulations, my guy. This is the guy who scored the highest in the qualifying round with 32 points. I don't think we've had anyone really cap more. I don't think more than like 25 or 26. And he beat that by basically an entire 1st place 6 points, all the way up at 32.
That was
this
the
one
mock
he
draft,
came
second
in.
mock draft, right?
Yeah.
That's high scoring right there. 32. That's everybody's like.
Yeah, you were scoring high on everyone's board.
And that
so
just
this
goes
one
to show
was actually a tie.
You made the cut over here too.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And yeah, you're in tie for 1st too as well. There was one little thing.
He lost the tiebreaker, so technically he was 2nd. So go ahead, read off his team, and then let's get into it.
Out here because he did it from the 8th spot here as well. So he goes Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Mike Evans, good wide receiving solid core there. Gets his running back in James Cook, gets his running quarterback in Lamar Jackson, comes back around and picks up Aaron Jones as his 2nd running back, picks up his tight end and George Kittle. It goes back to Tony Pollard here as another running back. And then now he comes back to get the wide receivers in Khalil Shakir and Romeo Dobbs. Finishes up his running back group here with Tyler Agil, who I really like this year. Gabe Davis, and then Bryce Irving here at the end. Oh, Bucky Irving, I'm sorry, Tampa Bay. So he rounds out his team that way. I just thought he started really great, but I don't want to break it down too much here. Let's pass it on to Anthony before I start.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that. So yeah, so where did I have him in at? So I came in, he was my third place team. Yeah, third place team. Scoring 4 points for me here, Mr. JWN. So I liked it. I liked the build. Liked what he was, kind of doing there. Obviously, with the three wide receivers and the kind of hero or villain RB, however you want to look at that. With James Cook, Lamar Jackson, you're getting that rushing quarterback, which I like as well. Which kept it away from maybe a higher score here, where these early kind of Aaron Jones and Tony Pollard pick. But one thing I do want to make sure I point out is this is a half PPR. It is three wide receiver, but it is half PPR and a flex. So I don't mind kind of the folks that are flexing their running back, or just kind of getting that guy, as long as they have guys, like Shakir and Dobbs here, or even like a Gabe Davis that I feel you could still throw in the flex at the wide receiver position. If you're looking for some upside any given week, because those guys are attached to fairly good quarterbacks or just big playmakers, themselves. It could potentially kind of just win you a week. They're not going to do it every week. Of course, they'd be going at the top half of the draft. They're going in the bottom half of the draft for a reason. But they can do stuff, any given Sunday, so to speak. So yeah, so I just, again, your RB build, get your elite, quarterback and tight end. You have that, nice running back depth there, with, pretty much kind of RB1, so to speak. And then you have a handcuff there in Algier, to handcuff one of the top running backs. So that's not a bad, spot to be in, being a 1,000-yard rusher himself. So yeah, so team came in as a third place team for me. Just only two other teams that I liked better. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I was at the third place exactly with them too. So I think you and I viewed him the same. I like how he started with
We're
the
the
three
same
wide
on a lot of
receivers.
these. This is interesting. We're usually
Yeah,
not. Usually Phil and I are always the same. He and
yeah,
I have been a little opposite.
yeah. We've been in
Sorry. Go
sync
ahead.
on this one. No, it's all good because we see the good teams. We know what's going on. Right?
Right.
You know
See
what
the
I'm
good.
saying? But yeah, no, the good solid core wide receivers. Like I said, I didn't mind how he waited to get his, uh, backup wide receivers, or like you're saying, taking shots at Khalil Shakir and Romeo Dobbs. I thought were good where he got them. Um, James Cook, I think, is going to have a solid year, like the running quarterback that he ended up with. Aaron Jones is where it starts kind of some questionable, his age and injuries and so on. Let's see how he does this year on a new team. I like where he got George Kittle. See, you could wait and still get a pretty decent guy. You know what I mean? Like, unlike, Raf over here that waited to the end. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And he goes with Tony Pollard. That's the one that's like I'm more up in the air about, because he's like the 1-1 over there on the team, and I do get what you're saying. There's a start, and then he could have a pretty good week there. And just after the Dallas situation, that he's just left a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't see what I'd seen the prior year when, but maybe
Makes
this will be
sense.
better. But maybe this will be better for him because he's not having to carry the load. He
Another
seemed to
year
do really
removed.
well when he was just coming in every so often for some games, plays, and maybe that's his thing. He needs to be in the RBBC situation, and he thrives better in that situation. Some guys aren't bell cows.
Right.
That's just the truth of the matter. You know what I mean?
You could
And that's
argue
okay.
Kamara's best days were when Mark Ingram was still there, taking off those kind of carries from him, so he could excel at what he did as a change
Exactly.
of pace.
Just change the pace, right? Exactly. So that works. That works for some of them. So, but I mean, overall, solid core. I think the way he built the team, um, and who he ended up with at the positions, I think he's getting some good value in the spots that he was getting them at. So hey, welcome aboard here. And now we're gonna go
Congratulations.
to drum line, drum line. And we're gonna get to number one here.
Number one team, a new guy, new to the tournament
New, new
this year.
tournament.
Just easy
Yes.
peasy. This is how you do it, right? Come
Yeah.
in, make the semifinal, come in, get first place in the semifinal. Just get your ticket on to the finale. Who is it, Frank?
And Poggy or Poggy.
The Poggy.
Poggy.
The Poggy.
And
Congratulations, man.
unfortunately, hey, another one here, Ant. I'm looking at this,
Hey, you
and neither
see
one
what's
of us
going on?
have scored.
The number one ranked team didn't even make our top six. You and me
Didn't
both.
even make our top six. Didn't do it. But
Couldn't do
other
it.
guys have them as like Mike has them as number one team. Kendall has
Kendall
them as
number one.
number one team. Phil number two team. Tycoon scores them as well. Down to what's that, the
It's fourth place team.
fourth place team.
Any worse,
so-
it would have dropped him one spot, and
Yeah.
JW would have took the one spot, but
But
you
yeah,
got in
obviously
there.
other
Got the
guys liked
tiebreaker
them a
with the
lot,
two first places.
So let's take a look what they liked about this team.
Yeah, let's
okay?
see.
Poggy starts off with in the 4 spot. He gets in this 4th spot here. Tyreek Hill, Nico Collins, Debo Samuel gets 3 wide receivers. Then he goes Rashad White, Alvin Kamara, Najee Harris, 3 running backs. Then he goes to CJ Stroud in the 7th for his QB. Javonte Williams. Jameson Williams, JMO
Hmm.
over here. Tajay Spears, who I like. David Njoku in the 10th here as his tight end off the board. Still takes Tyler Lockett. And Gibson here, Antonio Gibson over there, and Williams at the end, which I don't really care for anyways. Mike Williams is just water at this point. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this team here?
Yeah, so I mean, just because of that alone, getting Mike Williams at the end of the draft is just a
Yeah.
wasted pick to me. It couldn't make my top 6, let alone number 1 overall. No, just kidding, Napogi. I appreciate you coming out and being with us, man. Congratulations again. But of course, I have to try to defend you not making my top 6 somehow here. So let me see if I can make a case for it. Just not a fan for this whole 3-3 type build here. I see what he was doing here with the Stroud Collins stack. Again, I don't mind these guys individually. Harris is where it kind of gets a little wonky for me. Again, give me a Rashee Rice there. You know, a lot of other folks I kind of like at that spot maybe instead. But if you were dead set on getting Stroud, I guess I could see why you did it. And if you did, I don't know where you're coming back and grabbing Spears again here in the 9th. That's when I would like to see another potential maybe wide receiver there. But again, it is half PPR. So again, I don't mind it. The Gibson and Williams picks for me were just almost kind of waste. There's other guys here in this last round that I would have preferred, a little more, or in these last 2 rounds per se. And I don't know, man. There's the only guys I really don't like individually on this team are Harris, Lockett, Gibson, and William. Or I'm sorry, I don't mind Lockett too much. So let's just say Najee, Gibson, and Mike Williams here. But to me, that's like, again, 3 picks out of 13 that I feel were like just misses for me, where I like several other kind of guys in that range. So I just couldn't get a team in my top 6 where I didn't like 3 out of the 13 picks. So that's kind of how and the only way I guess I could defend myself. But I really like that 7, 8, 9, those picks there, Stroud, JMO, Spears. I really like those. The first 3 rounds, again, aren't too bad either. I probably would have taken Cooper Kupp over Debo Samuel, even as a Niners fan, just with, just as far as fantasy football goes, or maybe even Devonta Smith, I kind of like almost ahead of some of these other guys here. And maybe I would have liked it a little more. I don't know. It's just something with that 3 wide receivers and then 3 running backs and a quarterback. Just that whole thing just looks weird to me. It feels like you're just kind of behind on picks for whatever reason. It doesn't feel like it was a good flow or fits any kind of like draft strategy or builds, that we typically talk about. So,
Yeah, maybe this is the new thing, yeah. Maybe this is the new thing.
I
You
mean,
know what
maybe.
I've noticed? It's hard for us to defend a team we don't like.
It's really hard. I mean, it is the first place team. I was trying to defend it as best I could. I think I maybe changed one person's mind, but that's not it. I could see why he's easily on Classic Mike's list. You have, Nico Collins and Stroud and Tyreek Hill, who he loves. He likes Rashad White. He likes Jameson Williams. I could see why he made his top team. But go ahead, Frank. Why didn't he make your top 6? Let's see if you can.
He didn't make my top 6, but I think that we got to point out why he did make other teams' top 6 is because he does have a good starting core wide receiving, and Hill, Collins, and Debo. I don't think he could have took Cooper Kupp because you mentioned taking Kupp because he took.
Yeah, he could have cut Kupp instead of
Kupp
Debo.
was right before Debo.
Kupp went before.
That's what
I'm
saying.
sorry. Oh, okay. I see
You
what you
couldn't
mean.
have got him.
Yeah. So it would have been Devonta Smith there. Then I would have preferred. Yeah.
Okay.
I would have reached for Smith. You're right. I was
Reach
following
for
the
somebody
arrows
else.
the
Yeah,
wrong
and
way.
I think I would have took Smith too. But
Good job,
it's
Leo, for
the-
taking Kupp over Samus.
yes, exactly.
I give Leo the credit for that.
It's just like you're saying, it throws us off with the build of three wide receivers, 3 running backs. I don't think you need to go 3 running backs. I think that the Najee Harris pick is where he could have just went right back to wide receiver there. I don't. Stroud is going where he should be going. I think that the stack that he got was really smart. Um, I think we both like JMO and Tajay Spears, but I think that that build would have been different a little bit after since he already had another higher wide receiver there. He maybe not take JMO there, or it does take him and then take Spears, which I would have been happy with there, and that'll been your third wide running back. Then you could have just waited for somebody else. It just changes who you have available at that point or what you're looking for to get some other guys. And the last two picks are they're just throwaways to me. Gibson and Williams are just, you know, not there
Guys are
for me.
not going to be on our team week 3, guarantee
Yeah.
it.
And yeah, and maybe that's a good way to kind of look at him as somebody.
I'd rather
that
take a
you
lotto
want.
pick. Like, why take aging veterans in that spot coming off crazy injury history and a guy who can even keep his job in Washington? And I used to be the biggest Gibson fan. And I hope he shocks me because, again, remember, he used to be my baby CMC, as I used to call him.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, converted running back, playing for the coach who coached Christian McCaffrey. It was all lined up and just never took flight. So, yeah, I'm not a fan for just taking
Gibson.
nothing. I mean, even take a Bucky Irving there, take a Jalen McMillan, take a Xavier Leggett, take someone
Take
who
some
can give
shots
you
on some of these guys.
a
Yeah.
lot of ticket, Jermaine Burton, someone like that. So
Yeah.
I
Throw
don't know.
throw a rookie in there at that point. Yeah, exactly. 'Cause that's what
That's
we're
what I mean.
saying. You know what I mean?
Someone where
Some
we
of these
don't know
rookie
what
guys.
we already know what their ceiling basically
Yeah.
is.
And I think you just pan out a little bit better. But hey, other guys like the build. They seen what was there.
Yeah,
Rashad
screw
White,
us.
Kamara, Harris, CJ Stroud. Again, it's a decent build. It's a decent set of players that he got there. I like where he takes his tight end and David Njoku around 10. I think he would be all right with him. I just don't think it was for Anthony and I. Obviously, we're just like, hey, it's for first place guy, whoop, but not the. I don't know. It's hard for us to do that. I guess we can't just
Yeah.
like it without the proof behind it. Really, right?
There it is. All right, man. So again, congratulations to the top guys. We have, who is it? Napogi.
Napogi, number one.
Yep, Napogi.
JWN
JWN 71
Who's the code number one?
and Notar all advance to the August 30th finale.
Nice.
Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, see, I could have backed JWN 71. We'll move him up first. Let's trade that spot. Is that all right? Can we do that?
And let's do a little change in here while we're here. So now those are the guys. So congratulations. We'll throw it up on the screen there again. Since we have just a few more minutes here, since none of our first place teams even made the top 6, and considering all the guys who made the top 6 basically weren't on our top 6, do you want to talk about the guys at least that we ranked number 1? Why don't you go ahead and go
we
first?
could mention one of the guys that I think I'm just
Yeah,
looking at right
you
here.
just give your number 1 guy. I won't give any comment on it, and then I'll talk about my number 1 guy, and we'll leave it from there.
All right. Well, I just want to
Call it
point
a
this
night.
guy out specifically. He's my number 1 guy, and he's your number 2 guy, Blow Rep.
Right?
So, that's to be said something because we both had him very high. We're the
Didn't
only
make
ones that had
anybody
him.
else's top 6,
No,
but
didn't
scored our
really,
number 1 and 2 team.
You and
right
I,
here.
though, we were like seeing eye to eye with this guy right here.
I don't
So
know what's
Blow
going
Rep
on if
in
Frank
the
and I are
7th
agreeing.
spot right here in the middle. Yeah, and we're not. This is why it's independent, which is crazy because we're just typing in at different times when everybody gets an opportunity. You don't know. I mean, we do see other people's. I'm not looking at them. I just
don't look
go
at 'em,
in and
man.
put my scoring. I actually just noticed it right now, honestly. So right. We got Blow Rep over here in the 7th spot. Starting out, Amon-Ra St. Brown, going Devon Achan, Michael Pittman, Malik Neighbors, Kyle Pitts, and then James Conner. So he gets a nice hero RB build going there. Christian Watson, Jordan Addison. I think both of us have those guys high. I like where you got Jordan Addison in the 8th, waiting on what's going on with maybe a possible suspension with them guy, and he's also his number 5 wide receiver. So it's not like he has to rely on this. He could even still start Christian Watson in the flex and still not eat Addison. So that's why I like where he took him. Jaden Daniels, another rookie running quarterback over there. See what happens with him taking a shot. Comes back with Marshawn Lloyd. J.K. Dobbins, Jaleel McLaughlin, and then finishes off backing up with Jared Goff, which I thought was important to have.
That was actually one of the best picks and why it made my second place team, because he went with that upside quarterback and Jaden Daniels for the rushing, but then
Yes.
backdoored it with super safe and nice, still potentially low end QB1, but still going to make you compete every week in Jared Goff. And it's the stack with Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he got him in the 13th round with his last pick. Well done.
Which is sweet. Yeah. So, and you just.
I just love this team. I like the team. I mean, I could care less about Pittman, but the build is just that's where I'm.
Pittman. I don't mind Pittman. I like where he got. That's where he's going. I think he got good value. You didn't like him last year when Bobby had him.
I would have took Devontae. Like if this would have had Devontae Smith, it would have been like my number one team over Pittman right there.
Really?
Would have loved it.
I like Pittman.
I'm big on Devontae Smith this year, man.
I'm good with who you got, where you got him at. I think you gave him the number one score on my sheet, so that's why I'm backing the team up. I like who you got, where you got him. Like I said, Addison is a good spot. He doesn't have to be a starter, and if he doesn't pan out right away, you don't need him right away, which is great. Again, backing up the upside rookie quarterback with a solid veteran, smart move. Taking these running backs late with some opportunity in McLaughlin and Lloyd. Let's see what happens. J.K. Dobbins is over there basically in the middle mix of everything that's going on in the Chargers. Now it seems like this preseason start hopefully figuring that whole situation out. Let's to see who's going to be actually starting for them, or at least splitting some scaries with the guys. I think at this point it's going to be a three-way monster, not just a two-way monster over there. But let's see what happens, right? But yeah, overall, solid team, man. I mean, I like it. I like the
job, Blue Rip. We'll see you back at it, man. Sorry, Frank and I, we tried to do our best to get you there. We just couldn't get anybody else to come along with us, believe in your story that you're writing for us here, man. So we'll hopefully
you did. You
try it again next time.
You had a second, so you're right there with me.
Right.
I said, what's up, Rasta? I'm late.
What's up, Ethan?
What up, mate?
Shout out to the Going Gone League. It's our $25 auction redraft Superflex team. We are drafting August 18th. I'm excited. I believe Phil's in that league with me. I think Shaw Dog's in that in that with me. So yeah, man. So where's Ethan, man? So he says number 3 is his favorite. That's Leo, the Jets fan. Leo got 6th place overall. 6th place overall. Unfortunately, didn't make Frank or I's top 6.
No.
Yeah,
make the top 6.
It's kind of the story. What is your? It was almost the kind of story of the night. All right, so yeah, I'll just give off my top 6 real quick. You give your top 6, and then we'll call it a night.
No, I gave my top 6 guy is like my.
You mean went over the team?
Guy. Your number one.
Okay, my number 1 guy. Oh, okay. I thought we were gonna just run through all of ours. All right, so that's right. All right, so my number 1 team here, and interestingly enough, of all the builds that you would have thought that would be my favorite team, the team that came in as my favorite here was Phase 300, man. Here in the 10 spot, he goes Puka, Marvin Harrison Jr. A lot of risk there. Grabs Sam Laporta, tight end 1, off the board. Gets his villain RB here, and Josh Jacobs, followed by Keenan Allen, just kind of target monster with Caleb. Is going to be a nice safety blanket for him there. Then he grabs Ken Walker, who I like. Can't say enough things about David Montgomery already in this mock. So of course my favorite number 1 team has David Montgomery on it as the RB3. Gets Keon Coleman, who you guys know this offseason that I really like. Has that potential there to be the number 1 wide receiver. Maybe not number 1 target, but number 1 wide receiver in Buffalo. Just has Shakir and older Curtis Samuel to kind of beat out here on his 3rd team. Obviously, they invested here in Coleman, so I like the potential upside there. So even if you could say Allen's old and Coleman is old as well, you still got Brandon Cooks here, who I think was just a steal of a pick here in the 13th. That could easily fill in week 1 as your, wide receiver 3 or a flex. I think he's going to give solid production in this offense. Obviously, only CeeDee Lamb's there, didn't do anything to improve that wide receiver core.
Nope.
I believe Michael Gallup retired, so there's literally no one else.
Well, he wasn't
there.
on the team anymore, anyways. But
oh yeah, he got traded somewhere else and then retired. That's right. So
yeah,
he's definitely not on the team.
He went to the Raiders. And
that's what it was. Okay. There you go. See, I'm even a little behind on that. That's how often Jerry Jones uses the transaction report. I can't even remember. It's the last thing I remember him doing was trading away Gallup or not re-signing. So sorry, Jerry.
Right.
Sorry, Cowboys fans. But what I like too is in this 13th or in the 12th and 13th round, kind of unlike what who did we say here? Napogi did with Gibson and Williams. I love how he went with Leggett and Cooks. Like again, the Cooks pick makes sense for the team build, and he has kind of some lotto tickets here with Coleman and Leggett. So and then in between that, Moss, Dowdle, again, Walker, David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs. He's going to be able to make trades with this team, and that's what you have to remember too. It is a redraft, not a best ball. So when you have that kind of capital, and if these guys hit and have some potential name value there in the offenses that they're on, I think they could you could trade off and even pair somebody up with one of these running backs and with a wide receiver, and and really come up on a position player there. And then again, we know what the upside with Harrison is, and Nakua literally had records set all last year. So this and then of course the Love pick here, a nice quarterback, fairly late down here in the 9th. One of the last kind of guys he got on that tier break because only Purdy and Goff go after him. So he literally waited as long as he could, which I loved as well. Still got a good guy there. So I mean, I really like the team, how it was built, the guys who were put together, and I could just see myself if I had this team, I could do some things with it. So that's why it was number 1 for me.
Nice.
There it is.
So yeah, those are our top guys. Anthony and I just kind of read off our number 1 teams and why we supported them the way that we looked at them, what we liked about those teams. And congratulations to the top 3 guys, and then Pogi, JWN, and Notar. You guys are in on the August 30th draft. And Rafi Bomb, the Bubble Boy, coming in. Raf Danes and Leo, the Jets fan, are the alternates here in 4th, 5th, and 6th spots. You guys want to join us for a mock draft? Go to the links in the description. Follow our sleeper channel. Get into the posted pinned mock draft lobbies and join us. And they fill up pretty fast though, right? So you gotta be paying attention. Pick once they're posted. Kind of want to go in there and pick the day you want to draft in, and hopefully make the cut.
For sure. And before we get out of here, man, why don't you tell the folks about the people who made this all possible, the people who we're going to be so excited to talk about on Wednesday when we jump into our Best Ball Mania 5. Frank, tell the folks about our partnership over here with our boys at UnderdogFantasy.com.
Underdog Fantasy would be our guys. They're the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports from their best ball draft tournaments, which means you draft your team, no season-long commitment, no waivers, no trades, no weekly lineup setting. You set it and forget it. And we do these on Wednesday, so we're coming up on. We're going to be doing that. So they also got the tier pick'em contest. So you pick higher lowers on player stats, like total yards or touchdowns. You pick a couple of those, and you could even get multipliers on how many picks you get. So visit UnderdogFantasy.com. Download the fastest growing fantasy app in your app store now. They're everywhere. Do we have the map up, Anthony, for where they're located? But they're pretty much almost everywhere now.
Almost everywhere now, man.
You could be happy to have them. It's really fun. So when you do sign up, make sure you use our promo code GetRight. When you do, you'll get a special pick'em at that time, and you also get a 50% deposit match up to $250. So if you deposit a little, $10, you'll receive $5 extra in bonus cash. Or if you deposit up to the max $500, you'll receive $250 in bonus cash. I mean, that's a pretty good deal right there.
Free money.
So what are you waiting on? Just download the app, use the promo code GetRight, and let's jump right into the draft and enter the pick'em contest today, because you do get that special pick'em when you do draft in there. So come check it out, give them a shot. You'll find this a lot of fun. I mean, it's what Anthony made some money last year, went in 42nd place out of 70,000 plus with the $4 entry, turning that into almost $400. So if you can do it, we can do it too.
Absolutely, man. So hopefully we'll see you guys out here jumping in that Best Ball Mania with us on Wednesday. Make sure you tune in for more stuff that they have going on as we lead up to the season, as well as in season. Again, doing those pick'ems are a ton of fun. You'll see us doing those just to kind of break up the ups and downs that come with the fantasy season. So sometimes you want to get a little side bet on something, make your week a little more interesting, depending how things are going with your with your players, man. Yeah, it's a lot of fun there on Underdog. So again, we appreciate the partnership with them. Of course, we have our boys over at TrophySmack.com. So if you want
That's
a
what's
ring
up.
like this or one of the belts, this is the time to get it now. Have the buy-in fee just add into your fees. Again, $7 for a 12-person league, additional to get one of these custom rings with our League of Extraordinary Gentlemen that we put on here. You can customize it however you want, like we did for our 1,000 subscriber ring when we did that giveaway right there, right on cue. Well done, Frank. So make sure you guys go visit the link in the description. Use that promo code GetRight when you check out, and that will help support the channel. And again, for as little as $7 per person in a 12-person league, you guys can get one of these rings that you can have forever. So make sure you guys check it out. It's heavy. It's a nice, thick, big ring. Like it's not any cheap, fake. I mean, it's fake. It's not real diamonds on there, but it looks good, and it's nice and solid. So you feel like you really won something. You know you're wearing it when you have it on. So there you go, man. So you want to tell the folks here before we get out of here about our boys here, our new additions to the channel?
Yeah, the new
Phil
guys
and Kendall?
here. You got to check out Kendall Vanderbilt here. He's with the Fantasy Football Tavern. So if you're looking to enjoy some hot takes and cold beers, make sure you tune into Kendall with the Fantasy Football Tavern. What nights is he on?
He'll be doing Wednesday nights. He's going to be following up on a lot of these qualifying mocks,
Perfect.
doing recordings, dropping them later. So make sure you guys are subscribed to him, especially if you want some breakdowns on how you're doing in the qualifying rounds, because we only live stream and review the semifinal rounds and the finale. So if you want that additional inside scoop, make sure you guys go tune in to Kendall over on the Fantasy Football Tavern.
And the other new guy here, we got Phil Ruskin with the extra point fantasy football here. Everyone likes scoring the touchdowns, but you got to come out and kick that extra point. So tune in to with the extra point with Phil Ruskin live on Thursdays, because the extra point can be the difference between a win and a loss. And he does, again, do some more stats and other insights that he offers here. Another guy here in the Get Right Fantasy. You know, we're always growing. So, you know, we love the opportunity here
More
that you guys
content.
give us the voice here to be able to put our content out. So appreciate you tuning in and check us out.
For sure. And let us know what you guys are looking for, man. What type of content you want, breakdowns, rankings, like risers, fallers, whatever it is that you guys are looking for. Make sure you leave a comment in this video and let us know. We have the manpower to start divvying these things up, and we'll bring that content to you guys that you're looking for. So until then, make sure you guys are jumping in those mock draft lobbies. They are open. There are a couple more spots to fill here this week, and then we'll have folks on standby. Smokey the Cat in the house. What's up, Smokey? Make sure you jump into the qualifying mocks this week, my guy. We were trying to get him in last week. I don't think he got squeezed in. Maybe he got in one. I don't think so, but hopefully he's in one here this week. So yeah, man. So we're about to shut it down here. From all of us here at Get Right Fantasy, man, we appreciate you guys coming to hang out. We tried to stay under an hour. We took a little time to go past, but not too bad at a little less than a minute 10 here. So from all of us here, man, at Get Right, for Dustin, for Classic Mike, for Tycoon, for my boy Frank here, of course, the new guys, Phil and Kendall. We appreciate you guys, man. We'll keep coming back here with you Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays in season. We will be back here on Wednesday with that Best Ball Mania live real money draft. Frank and I are going to try to take down 1.5 million. So come check us out when we do that. We appreciate you guys. Anything else you got, Frank? Are you ready to get out of this thing?
Peace out.
All right, man. We're out, man. Peace out.
Wanted to write fantasy is the play. Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided.